Let's see. Good morning, Therese. Good morning, Lori. Hi, Pickwick Turtle. Good morning, Christy. Dang it, I lost a book. Or more than one. I lost a journal or two. Two journals. My Jane Davenport one. The ones I filled. So, where would they be? I wouldn't have had them out in the living room, I don't think. I'm missing the two Jane Davenport journals I have, the big ones, and one small one. So that must mean there's a bag somewhere that has two journals in it. Well. Good morning, Cassie. Good morning, Janet. Good to see everybody. I had some good sleep last night. I slept from 1 a.m. to 8. So 7 hours. 7 hours for me sleeping is like more than I've had in, because when you're manic, and I'm absolutely manic right now, sleeping is hard. Sleeping is hard. But yesterday, after I cleaned all my brushes, they weren't dirt. They were a little dusty, I guess, because I had them stored. I haven't used them in over a year, so when they were stored standing up, they just have a little dusty. So I just want to make sure I clean them all nicely. I just got a nicer way to ooh, look at my camera's all jacked. Hold for it. I need to figure out now a nicer way to store them. How can I store my bad boys? Let me see. Dang it. Like over the past couple of days, I mean, I've sorted a lot of stuff, so I don't know where I would have some type of reusable bag that would have books in it. Like, I'm obviously missing one very, very important bag, because I also had a brand new, maybe only a couple of pages done in it, Jane Davenport journal, the bigger one that I bought at Michael's, because I really like that paper. When I do my swatchy stuff, you'll see. We'll go through this again. But that's frustrating. So I don't know. Anybody else have any ideas on where it could be? I don't know. It's obviously a bag. Sit down. Clean off some of the stuff that's right here off my desk. So I had the brushes and I threw it out because it was cracked. But I had like one of those old, and you guys have seen them before, a Zig memory writer. It was plastic and it had all the slots for the markers. But I didn't. It was. Uh-oh. Crap-a-lynch. Hold the fort. But I should put them back in some type of thing, because they should be out. Like, if I had them out, then I should use them. Read the chat for a second. It's hard to read this chat. Morning, Jane. Sorting some crapola. So I have different, obviously a bunch. These aren't all my water. These are mostly the main ones. I've got my, so obviously I have some super expensive brushes, some Princeton, some not, somewhere in between. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. I love the Princeton Neptunes. Maybe they're not all of them because my fancy Da Vinci's. So I definitely love this Da Vinci Usuri Sable. I can't even pronounce that. Ussuri. Usuri Sable. But you know me, I love, well, you'll see, I like little things. So that's why I have some bigger brushes, right? A big mop brush. This is a Princeton Neptune number 6. But, or the Da Vinci number 20 Petit Gris 5150. So, I mean, I have some fancy big ones, and I thought I had more Neptune than just this particular one. I thought I had a Princeton Neptunes. I do like the Neptunes. Anyway, we'll put these off to the side for a moment. I need, who remembers this mug? Where's Linda? We'll just put them in here for now. I've had this cup for a long time. All right. So I thought I'd remind myself and everybody else about my watercolor journey over the years and how I started. Now, everybody, we got a little Jillian mascot here today again. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Paula Phillips, also known as Journal Artista. Well, thank you for being here. We're gonna actually do some art today, so I don't know if I'll clean. I'm gonna art. We're gonna look through some of my books, and then I'm gonna do some watercoloring, get back into it. So for me, I never went, I never took art past grade 8. I thought that you had to be, not had to be, I thought people were born, learning how to draw, like knew how to draw from birth, that it was like some type of learn, not a learned skill, but a born, like a talent, right? Don't get me wrong, there is talent in it, but a lot of drawing is about seeing and about practice, right? But back then I thought, oh gosh, I can't draw a straight line with the ruler, so there's no way I'm going to go to embarrass myself in art class. So I took, my art credit in high school was ceramics. And I don't mean like, the pottery, so I mean like pour in the mold, like the mold's already made, and then you clean it and paint it. That's the art I took in high school. So watercolor, I hadn't had any experience with watercolor other than, the little gouache type pen. Well, they're not little, those big pucks. Who remembers those big pucks in school and stuff? So I didn't know anything about watercolor. I didn't know how to hold a brush, never mind how much water to use and all that type of thing. So the first thing I did, and you guys have, a bunch of you have seen these before, so just humor me for a while. Humor me. This I'll take the side for a moment. So when I first started, and over, the couple of year journey I had with watercolor, I learned a lot about paint, paper, brushes, the quality, like what is the most, I think paper was probably, of everything that I did, or how I learned anyways, paper quality was the number one, not the catalyst, that's not the right word. Paper quality was the most important aspect in my watercoloring. Like if I had the cheapest paper, like this book was from Dollarama. It's not what it calls watercolor, but it's not watercolor paper in here. I think it's like it's just some cheap paper. It was $3 at the Dollarama. And then I was also using a Canson mixed media journal. Well, that's not watercolor paper either. Now, as you guys know, I have and I'm missing, I have because I had started, I have a Canson Canson XL, this size watercolor paper that I have some stuff in. I'm missing a bag. I gotta find that today. It's gonna be my goal. Anyway, so when I first started watercoloring, just playing around, just trying to learn about how much water to, in your brush and that type of thing. This is how I started. Now, I don't suggest starting with the cheapest paper because back then I had no idea and I was playing around, and probably because I was using this paper, I probably caused myself more frustration at the beginning, but not that I didn't have fun. So I was working on these 2 books simultaneously, and we'll talk about this. So my watercolor journal, drink some coffee. Oh man, I'm hurting with this French press, my friends. Dang it, I sure miss my Keurig that would just I just throw in a K-cup and move. I'm really trying not to buy a Keurig. All right, so this was 2015. I think the first thing that not I don't think one of the first things that kind of got me inspired about watercolor was reading the Journal Junkies workshop. Uh, it's an older book. It's probably almost a decade old now. Anyways, it's an older book, Journal Junkies workshop. Great one. There's lots of awesome stuff. I don't think I have the book anywhere close, or I would show you. But the 2 guys, I can't remember their names. My apologies. One of the exercises in those books was that they used watercolor, either pencils or crayons. I can't remember which, or maybe either. Doesn't matter. Welcome, Artful Dabbler. Hi, Carrie Ann. Hi, Gilly. Anybody missed? Hi, Julie, my girl. So one of the exercises in that was, they would draw boxes with the water soluble, whatever, crayon or pencil, and then they would dilute it, or in this case, I diluted it with other watercolors. So again, 5 years ago, no idea what I was doing, never touched watercolor before. This is how I started. Those are P.H. Martin's Synchromatic transparent watercolors over there. So what I did, I started numbering everything, right? So February 2nd, 2015. So here we are 5 years later, right? I wrote down notes. So I used Inktense pencil, small angled brush, Koi watercolors. I liked how this turned out, right? Koi watercolors, randomly painted, Uniball Vision Elite pen over top, too much overlap, wet on wet, right? So I was just playing with how much water, paint to water ratio, how much water was in my brush, all that goodness. But Canson mixed media paper and watercolor, it's not the best experience, let's just say. Not the best. So I did some Neo 2s here. February 3rd, number 3. Dated everything. Koi, small angled brush. Then, I love windows and doors, so I started doing a lot of that stuff. And this was Neo 2's plain water, flat angle brush, pen last. So it's literally just drawing some things, patterns. Because, I'm not saying that I don't like realistic watercolors, but I love abstraction and pattern and that type of thing. That's a hot mess. Yeah, hot mess. Neo 2's cheap watercolor brush. This was on top of gesso. Cheap water. So this was before, this was 5 years ago. So before, a couple years ago when I really got into watercoloring and I really bought good watercolor, like expensive watercolor paints and brushes and all that type of stuff. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Sherry, if I didn't say hello, can't remember. So it was important to take notes, right? Especially during this experience, I was learning. So I wanted to document, right? Inktense pencil, very fine tip, water brush, way too small. So I wanted to remind myself, what was I learning in this experience, right? I really liked this little bad boy. February 6, 2015, numbered everything. So I'm just going to quickly go through this. I love this. So some things worked out. Like, there's too much paint on that, right? But when I did this, I was so proud. Where did it say? February 7th. And this was number 23. Quick sketch from Googling tree. Koi watercolor using number 6. Worked wet on wet. Paper was dry first. Next time, wait until dry to do darker tones. So I didn't wait in between. Well, one layer was completely dry before I put on some of the other darks on top of it. So we're with some. And then, of course, Carla Sondheim. Everybody doesn't like, I don't care. I love her weird looking animals. I love Carla Sondheim animals. Yeah, jelly plates. Lori saying her friend bought a jelly plate several months ago and hasn't even cracked it open. Yeah, I mean, when the jelly plate first came out years ago, I bought it in Burlington. I didn't really understand it. I had that bad boy maybe a year and a half before I really started using it. Paper counts. That's definitely if you're working wet on wet, which is why I liked. Oh yeah, remember this story? So this was from like some type of magazine, right? So I wrote sketch from Seagull statue in a magazine, right? So if you use a statue as a reference, you're going to get a drawing that looks like a statue. So use a statue as a reference equals a drawing of a statue. Koi watercolor. So this was the only watercolor I had at that time were koi, but I had the koi tubes and the little pan set. God, there's, I don't know, alcohol ink on that page or something. I don't know what's going on. Elegant Writers. So that was the first book. And what I was doing is I had this and I had this. So if I was waiting for something over here to dry, then I would go over here and add a little bit more. My brushes. So you guys can see this is a design seed challenge that Dee Dee made us do many years ago, probably before 2015. So that was an old something. All right. So this was the first one I did in this book. Same type thing. This book came from Dollarama, not water. Even though it says watercolor book, they lie. It's not watercolor paper. But you know, I used what I had back then. I was just making absolute hot messes. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just taking paint and water and I was just throwing it on the page and seeing what happened. But doing these two books simultaneously and practicing, like I saw a progression, for sure, from when I started to going. So again, more hot mess. Like this is the first thing, like koi watercolor, angle brush, need to let colors dry or I get mud. Too much spraying with water. Another random crazy fish for Carla Sondheim inspired. Oh, there it is. So here we did this. Here's our moldy distress stains. These were bad. And like I said, the Ranger replaced them even after, years. But they fixed that. They fixed all good now. All good. No more moldy distress stains. Look at that. I don't know what I was thinking over here. Like, could I get the stem any bigger? It's not a stem. That's a trunk. That's a tree trunk. So all of this is, again, and I mentioned the other day, my favorite. Hopefully, I don't know if you can hear what's going on upstairs. But the Vision Elite. So these are all I love using Vision Elite, Univision Elite pens. All right. This one was on gesso first. So this is how I just started playing. And then I kind of stopped doing watercolor things for a bit. I think we'll have to look. I like this one. So this was the beginning of my watercolor journey. Look at my crab. And then again, just a Carla Sondheim inspired, where I just had a whole bunch of hot mess washed down, just paint everywhere, and I saw a crab in there. I drew him. A dog with his paws in the water bowl. More weird Carla Sondheim animals. Thanks, Chili. I see a face. I was practicing some wet on wet over here, but again, the paper, wet on wet especially, the paper is paramount, right? Depending on the paper used is really going to affect the your outcome. So wet on wet in this type of paper, bad names. Look at my pig and my door. So like I said, I had no idea what to do, but I gave myself permission, right? And this was an exercise. So you see, I get into so the February 9th, for example, this would have been one of the first things I did that day from that book, Journal Junkies Workshop. I really suggest that book. So I took that prompt, and the first thing I would do when I sat down was do these little boxes and and fill it out just to get myself warmed up. Elegant writer. So those were the first two journals. Again, I worked on simultaneously 5 years ago, and then I started. Then Prima and Jane Davenport started going with their watercolors. And then that's really when I was like, oh boy, now I'm really into it. So everybody's seen this before. I'll flip through it again. This is my treasure. This is completely filled. This is the first watercolor. Hi, Mary Beth. I love wet on wet. Wet on wet blooms. The messier the better in watercolor. That's not that I can't appreciate realism, and all that type, like the wonderful, beautiful art that our wonderful friend Music Scrap Jean makes. Her watercoloring, her marbles and all that, like the realistic kind. I appreciate that, and don't get me wrong. I want to practice that, but I love the look of the loose flow, wet on wet. Welcome, Joie de Fille. French hussy. Let's wait to drink some coffee. All right, so this is a Jane Davenport journal. You can buy at Michael's. I need to get me a new one. There's watercolor paper in here. I guess it's more hot press and cold press. I don't know. It's not necessarily the best kind of watercolor paper, but for what I do, the swatches you'll see, I really enjoyed her paper and working in this book. Really enjoyed it. Now, just today, I have to find my big ones. I have two. One completely full and another one with my swatches and stuff. I've got to find that today. That'll be my project. It's not in this room. That's what worries me. So let's see. I definitely put some dates on here. Oh, I love these flowers. I think this flower, I don't think, it was a Daniel Donaldson class that Patty and I both took, I think, with the geodes and stuff. I think that's a Daniel Donaldson thing. This is definitely, yeah. So you'll see here, this was June 19, 2017. So I did all that watercoloring, and then for some weird reason, it's never weird. For some reason, I stopped watercoloring for another 2 years. So I picked it back up June 19, 2017. So that's when I really, so what is it, May? So 3 years ago. So it's been 3 years since I really got into water. Oh my goodness, because that means I probably haven't done any watercolor in a year and a half. That's bad news. All right, go through here. So I just started again playing. Now, look at this. People may think this is obsessive, right? I was, and I am. I get upset. That's part of my mental illness, I suppose. I get obsessed with things, and which is fine. I guess this is a positive obsession, right? But I love, like, I was just, again, practicing with different size brushes, and this is on top of other things. That's why it looks muddy. Like I had other things in the background here. Like you can kind of see where this particular page is pretty muddy. So these are a lot of swatches, and not just swatches, very deliberate mark making and swatches, right? So I was playing with, again, different all different watercolors, different color, different brands, different brushes, different all that stuff, right? So I like small brushes. So a lot of these tiny things, my friends, you'll see that I'm using like the size. Here's my brushes. Like some of this, right? We're talking a Da Vinci #2. Like these are tiny, tiny things. So you'll see these are hot mess. June 26, 2017. And I was practicing some circles and whatnot. Doing some salt. July 2nd, 2017. M-gram, Prussian blue, Indian yellow, size 4 and 6 rounds. So all I did was mix Engram Prussian blue, and Indian yellow, and all different, you know, saturations, different common, you know, more yellow, more blue, all the different colors I got just from those two colors. And you see, I purposely do blooms. Some people don't like blooms and stuff. I love blooms. In fact, to the point where I bought, and I haven't tried it yet. Maybe we'll do that today. Over here, I have somewhere. I bought granulation. Like I love blooming and granulation. I love granulating watercolors, which is why I guess I like the Daniel Smith. What do you call it? The Daniel Smith watercolors with the minerals and gems in them, stuff in them. So, anyways, I did buy the Winsor and Newton granulation medium. Increases granulation of color. I bought it. I haven't tried it. Didn't even open the bottle. For maximum effect, dilute color generously with medium alone, and always work with painting horizontal. Always paint horizontal. Well then. So it's probably, tiny brushes. Still trying to get color off of Daniel Smith Cobalt Teal. Oh yeah, watercolor sticks. Man, the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks, I had a hard time getting color off them sometimes. This was harder. Doing swatches horizontally rather than vertically, that was definitely harder for me. Because, I mean, I don't have a steady hand. A little bit bigger brushes. Then we got into some, what is this? Princeton Snap brush number 6, Jelly Roll. Oh, Moonglow. So this was painted with Jelly Roll Moonglow pens. No watercolor at all. Kathy did a painting video using the medium. You did, Kathy? Oh, what's the title? I'm going to have to go look at that. I'm going to read that. Read it. Oh, my sweet. I'm going to have to watch that today. This is Engram Ultramarine Blue and Azo Green, mostly Cotman number 4, some number 2, and a large ones, Black Velvet number 8. Number 8 definitely too large for small shapes like these. So Ultramarine Blue and Azo Green, and then all the different colors I got from it. The different saturations. Ooh! Yummo! Here we are, Daniel Smith. Sort of like, so these are all the, not all. Not all. The Daniel Smith. Good morning, Gail. What kind of pens? What pens, my friend? Did I already talk about pens? Thanks, Jackie. But I love granulation. Like, if we look at this sodalite, or Jada, this is hematite violet, and if I had, good watercolor paper, the granulation would be even more, and the blooms, love it. I could eat it up, my friends. I could eat it up. So now you'll start seeing that I started being really influenced by Ana Victoria Calderon. I love her work. If you didn't see my tweet, I don't know if it still is, my friends, but her first book, Ana Victoria Calderon, was on sale for Canada. The digital version, the Kindle version, was on sale in Canada for $2.99. I think it was $2.19 US, the digital version. So I got that. But you can see a lot of her influence and her, because at that point I found her on Skillshare, and I was taking classes. I really like Skillshare. I was watching Skillshare and all of that's where I originally found her. So you'll see a lot of her influence. I mean, this is, to some people, this is pretty obsessive. To a lot of people. But you can see, look at how neat this is compared to this, right? The control, my control, you can start really seeing how I was able to control water, control my brush more. But I enjoyed, this is just 2 colors, obviously some type of yellow and red, and then made all the different tones from those 2 colors. But again, this was number 4 Cotman. I guess I used a lot of number 4 brushes. I guess I like the side. Number 4 is a good size for me. I liked this. I think that was a Daniel Donaldson inspiration because, like I said, I took an online class of hers as well. It was a geode class or something. I don't think I ever finished that particular one, but you know how that goes. Kathy says the video was mixed media watercolor experimenting with Lena. I'm back. I'll write that down. So I'm going to write that down. So I enjoyed this wet on wet flow, and it would have turned out a lot nicer if we had, you know, a little bit better paper. I enjoyed the paper in these books. That's why I bought more than one. I really enjoyed the paper in these Jane Davenport books. I love that. So when I talk about watercolor for me, right, it's all about patterns and blooms and flows. So this was hard. This took a while. You can see, but you really can see where I've, you know, added too much water or whatnot. But that's what this was all about, is learning, right? Size. So I was using a number 1 down here brush. So this was July 26, 2017, Princeton Neptune number 10 round, mostly Winsor Newton cotton paint. Did I miss a page? No. So I did all of this, probably 99% of this on the couch in front of the TV, just playing with watercolor and learning about, you know, paint to water ratios and how much paint to load on your brush and all that, and mixing colors. Now you can see is where I bought the Gansai paints, the fluorescent Gansai paint. Some metallic paints from Prima. Back to those. I don't know what you guys are seeing on my camera right now. If you can tell that how absolutely, thanks, Gilly, how this is fluorescent. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but it's absolutely fluorescent watercolor. So I got a lot of intentional blooms, but still some hard lines on there. Princeton Neptune number 4s. Then I was practicing longer washes. Obviously, you can see where I had success, and then I started. So again, 2017. Then I started to do more. Look at this. So remember I showed you that video, or not that video, the other day when I bought last week, right? Made for me, my friends. That's why I had to buy this binder. Like, it's my kind of thing. It's my kind of thing. My kind of favorite. And that's the, Anna Victoria Calderon inspiration. And I started doing some gems. I love painting, still love the crystals and gems. Hey, Cheryl. It was Jane. Was it not? Did I paint that? I don't know who the artist was, but it was awesome. Here, this was actually, they're metallic, but this was Prima. The Prima metallic ones. Watercolor paint. I don't even know if you can see. Prima metallic paints are not as, obviously metallic as some of the other ones. And now you can see where I started getting into Prima and Jane Davenport's different watercolors and testing. I started testing colors to see if the two colors were the same. These are Daniel Smith. That's the amethyst one for sure. But I love this, my friends. That was some iridescent blue in here. Let's see if my camera will. There we go. We go up all the way up. So there's some iridescent blue in here, Daniel Smith iridescent blue, and I don't know what other. Obviously, I was using some type of granulating something. But those are Daniel Smith. More Daniel Smith. More Daniel Smith. So obviously I was using bigger brushes at the end of this. Practicing more of that. Dropping into wet on wet and stuff. And then these were all not all, but there were a bunch of the wrappers from the Prima and Jane Davenport watercolors. So I definitely recommend. She has 2 sizes of these books, different prints, different colors, right? They have this one, and then there's one like this. That's where I have some swatches in that one. And then the bigger sizes. Like I said, I have 2 big ones. Where are they? I mean, just recently. Did we not just look at that one recently, guys? Like the last time I was in my room, we talked about swatches. You know what I mean? Like, and I showed where would it be? Where would it be? So anyways, I need to find that book today sometime because I do want to add some more to the bigger one. What are my favorite watercolors? So when I was doing all of that, I guess for me, my favorite would be the Daniel Smith, because I still am, my friends, so into the crystals and all of that goodness. So I'm feeling terrible. Daniel Smith, what is that name? What is the name of all of that line? I have it here. I'm gonna read it. The whole line of their gemstone typey thingamadoos. I think I have it in here. Do I? Maybe not. There's a word. Somebody's gonna help me out in chat before I find it anyways. I don't have them all. Oh no. But don't get me wrong. I haven't spent enough time playing with Mission Golds or M-grams or whatnot. Like all that watercolor. I spent months, hours and hours and hours and hours and months and months and months. Prima Tech. Thank you, Shauna and everybody. Julie, Prima Tech. Jackie, thanks, guys. Yeah, the Prima Tech line from Daniel Smith because it's all their. Oh. But I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played with. Is these my M? What is in here? Rose Madder, Cotton, Core watercolors. M-grams. So I don't know. These are M-grams. That's bad news. So I don't know where my Daniel Smith collection is right at this exact moment, other than the palettes. All right. So we're going to find us. What should I want? So if I haven't picked up a watercolor brush or did any watercolor in a year and a half or more, what should I watercolor in? Should I just bust out a Canson mixed media? Not mixed media, a Canson watercolor journal? Probably. I do like the paper in the Canson watercolor journals. All right, that's what I'm going to find. Well, see, with my memory, like you guys know, if I can't, and I have a lot of junk, I have a lot of stuff everywhere, don't get me wrong. But most, 9 times out of 10, I can remember where things are. And if I can't remember what bag something is in or where it is, I get real frustrated with myself. All right. Because I'm missing 2 big books. And they're ginormous. So it's not like, they're 9 by 12 journals. It's not like it's a little book to, it's not like a little moly hiding out somewhere. It's a big journal. Morning, Devon, FOL, Elaine. The Core. So I haven't done any watercoloring since, but I do know Core's come out with pan watercolors, right? I think. Golden Core, are they in pans now? Did I see that somewhere? I thought I had it out the other day too, Cheryl. I thought, because I remember showing you guys, like, remember, look at all these things. Here I was, how I swatched all those. So where would it have gone? You know what I mean, guys? I don't understand. I just had it. I need to find that book. And it's going to bother me till I find it. Anyways, for now, we can use Canson watercolor. I keep saying mixed media. I've used Canson mixed media journals for so long that it's hard. It's a habit. So I do have two. So I have one here, which is swatches. You can buy these ones at Michael's, and I love the 7x10 size. This is why I love 7x10 size. It's not on the bookshelf, Mary Beth, because I cleaned my bookshelf. We went through all of this stuff behind me. And I mean, let me just take another little quick peek. Nope, oh no, heat gun. Heat gun. Don't worry, when I'm not in here, the power bar is shut off, so it's not like my heat gun can randomly go on if I'm not in the room. Let's see. Nope, those books. Nope. Where would it be, my friends? Where would it be? Anyway, I can't worry about. Let me one quick peek over here before I call it quits. One more quick. Nope. No. On top of that, no, that is that is this. Sorry, guys, talking to myself over here. No, I don't know. Unless I brought it back into the living room because I thought, oh, I'm going to use it out there. I had to. I don't know. Anyway, I'll obsess over that for hours if I don't just move on. Move on. It'll show up when it's ready. I know I have to do under the desk, Artful Dabbler. I have to do that today or tomorrow too. I've got to finish what's under the desk, which is a lot. Because my table, like I said, this is a 3 by 3 foot IKEA table, but with extension, like it's a one that has the wings out, so it's now 3 by 6 feet. So I have a 3 by 6 foot space under my desk. That's all. I just take a quick peek. No, that's my jelly plate. No, that's that. I don't know. So strange. You know what it is, guys. I put something somewhere, right? It's got to be, it's super special. Got to put it in that special spot so you don't forget. And then, yeah, that special spot is who knows where. It's so special. I'm hiding it from myself. Right. I do like working out of pans, though. So I have a lot of liquid watercolors, or sorry, not liquid. Well, I take that back. I do have a lot of liquid watercolors as well. But I like to work from in pans. Speaking of liquid watercolors, my Synchromatics PH Martins are in here. Some Jane Davenport inks, which they never came to my Michaels, so I don't have very many of those bad boys. Whatever the few I was able to get online. And the Hydrus. So my Synchromatics and my Hydrus are in here. Some Sumi ink. But I do like, so you see all my tube watercolors, I do have them all in pans because I love palette. Well, you know me. I like palettes. Welcome, Lion. Just quickly today. Good morning, Eileen. Gonna do some watercoloring today. Beautiful, beautiful file folder, Eileen. I saw it on Twitter last night. All right. So this is the one. I have some swatches in it I'll show you, and then we'll work on the other one where I'll actually do some painting. Whole bean. So there's a 18 set of whole bean watercolors. Yes, please don't judge, my friends. I have a lot of watercolor. We always saw it yesterday. Yes, I have a lot of watercolor. I have this. You guys know me. If there is something I'm interested in, whether it was watercolor crayons, colored pencils. I have this weird obsession that I have to research stuff. I get obsessed. I have to have every brand, every kind. I have to test, especially like colored pencils, right? Like I have Prisma Premiers, the Pablo, you know, I have everything but the whole beans. Like I have to test everything. I just love that type of stuff. So don't judge. Yes, I have a lot of water. Yes, I have a lot of watercolors. Yes, I have a lot of very expensive watercolors. I have some cheap watercolors. So don't judge. It is what it is. But I'm researching it for you guys, my friends. That's what I'm going to tell myself. I research for you guys. I put in the work. But yes, I do have a lot of brands and watercolors. So you see, I made stuff here, but I never actually swatched it. This, that I put those there. So I think this is the Medine set that I'd bought that had Medine watercolors in it, which is more of a student grade. Yeah, I can tell this is my, these will be Mission Golds because the way I swatched it, the way it's laid out in its palette. How vibrant those are. Woo! Oh, that's wonderful, Eileen. Met my match. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. This is Reeves Royal Atlantic gouache. Oh, yeah. This is the cheap green. So that's when I started looking at gouache. So Reeves is the only thing I have, but that's that. This was one of that palette I showed you, the random crap. Maybe that's what we'll use today. We'll use some paint out of my random crap palette, which are mostly Daniel Smith. There might be the odd Prima in there. We might use some random crap, but that's what this was. I had this laid out, or I was swatching it based on the layout of my, which I guess has changed since then. And so just random like a granulation in there. I don't know what I was doing over here, making a hot mess. There's the Paul Rubin swatches, and I painted it over the black to see how translucent they were. So this is just where I was swatching, and you guys know I if I'm having a watercolor, if I'm having grammar, Paula, if I'm watercoloring, right, and I'm using whatever palette, say today I felt like I was using my Mission Golds or whatever, I'd be swatching it on this paper that Canson, XL watercolor 140 pound, or I'd be trying to swatch it on different paper. So you'll see it's the same swatches over and over on all across different paper, which is kind of obsessive, but So that's all I did. This book was for just swatches to see how certain watercolors reacted to Canson watercolor paper. Again, these you can buy these at Michael's. I don't know if they sell them on Amazon anymore or not, but I like that they came out with this size in watercolor, not just mixed media paper. If you can hear that knocking. All right. So we do have this bad boy. And this was the one that I was using to do more finished work. This isn't finished, don't get me wrong. So this was inspired again, Anna Victoria Calderon, and her class on Skillshare. Can you hear that? I think I have new neighbors upstairs. They have a dog. It sounds like their dog's scratching their ear or something. So it's like so these are all like #1 brushes. And it's not quite finished because you can see like on to the left, I was adding more layers, how she shows you. And then the further I went that way on the right, this was just the first layer. And I haven't done any of her, like how she separates them and starts adding more layers on top of it. But I like, that's fun. This is all I do. And I started this other one over here. I drew all those triangles, but I didn't ever paint them in. Didn't ever finish it. And depending on my, like right now, if I busted out my number 1 brush or number 2 even, right? There's a Cotman one, like, see how shaky my hand is? I don't even know at this point that I'd be able to, look at my brush. Look at the tip of my brush here. Or even if I held it. I've always had an unsteady hand my whole life. But morning, April. Walmart has the Canson journals. Really, Terry? Welcome. Like the mixed media paper. Well, see, Walmart in Canada is different, anyways. Though, here are some of the Daniel Smith rhodonite, jadeite, amethyst, Mayan blue, hematite, pyomite, lapis lazuli. Love it. Love the granulation in those. Oh man. One day I'll have the entire collection of Daniel Smith, not the entire Daniel Smith collection, but of these. And who knows? I haven't looked or bought watercolors in years. So in a couple years now. So I don't know. Even maybe he has. Maybe Daniel Smith. I guess Daniel Smith is a he. Maybe they have more colors of that. Bye, Lion. Thanks for being here. Really, Terry? I'm gonna have to check it out. Like, I mean, the Walmart over here. It's bad news. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, back to the golden cores. Has anybody bought them in the pan form? See, now this is where I get, like I said, I get obsessed. I'm like, okay, I have cores in tube, but oh my goodness, they just came out with pan, so I gotta buy them in a pan as well. Fabriano journals. You'll have to tweet me that, Eileen. I want to see which one you're talking about. Fabriano. I mean, I have Fabriano paper, not in a book form. So this is Daniel Smith. You can see I was practicing wet on wet, like, very flow versus just controlling the brush, like the water in my brush. So you can see I'm more of a controlled wash over here, where over here I have blooms and I was dropping in stuff, and you can see blooms, and I liked how the granulation on something. Let me put my elbows down. So see, like, little granulation there. But at the same time, I was practicing the opposite, right? Even though the controlled washes is not necessarily my style, not that this doesn't appeal to me, don't get me wrong, but it was still important to me to practice. Okay, I can control and get a nice flat wash. The water, it's important to practice getting a nice flat wash versus, and this is iridescent blue and some Primatech, Daniel Smith Primatech colors. So that was fun to do both, to see it side by side, I started one of those again and never finished it. This was with Daniel Smith, again, Daniel Smith watercolors with the granulation. My top 3, Artful Dabbler's top 3 watercolors are most used: Daniel Smith, Schminke, and Core. So the only Schminkes I have are, I shouldn't say only, I have a 12 pan set. And cores I just have in tube form because a couple years ago, I don't know how much they are. I guess I haven't bought anything like that. But you know me, I've got to test it. I've got to do the research. Ooh, stomach's making noise again. These are the golds from the Gansai Tambi colors. Obviously, Gansai Tambi. Not Tambi. What were these called, my friends? Oh, I'll have to go look on over there. Super bright, anyways. Super gorgeous. So you can see I was doing, there's some salt. This was that Daniel Donaldson workshop. Daniel Donaldson online class I was doing. It's about geodes and layering geodes and stuff. All right. So this paper, it does have 2 different sides, right? I don't ever really, most of the time, care about that. Care is not the right word. All right. What watercolor set should we use today, my friends? Should we use some student grade like my Prima Jane Davenport sets? Should we bust out the Daniel Smith? Or should I just go and, well, it is Daniel Smith. Should we just use my little guy? Or should I bust out one of my 48 palettes? M gram. Jackie wants to see M grams. My M gram. Ngram is one of the companies that I hadn't played too much with compared to, like, you know, especially Daniel Smith and Koi. Because I mean, Koi watercolors is what I had first, right? Like I was saying the other day, Sennelier, Terry Sennelier. Do I have Senneliers? Do I? I think. Let me look at my book. Winsor Newton, Koi, P.H. Martin's, Koi, Tambi Ganzai, Inktense, Neocolor, Prima, Peerless, Golden, Course, Schminky, M gram. I don't know if I bought Daniel Smith, Prima Tech, Winsor Newton, Core, Schminky. Because I did put the Daniel Smith in here, like all the tip out. I don't know if I bought any Senneliers. Oh, thanks, Eileen. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, guys. Sennelier. What would it look? I'm gonna have to Google it so I can look at it to see if I can recognize in my head what the pan would look like. Did I buy them? Well, you know me. I have something Sennelier, but it could be. Do I have pencils? Oh, I'm gonna have to Google it. I don't know if I have. Let me just look at my phone for a second. I gotta jog my memory. Then people control me all they want, my friend. It's a view. Bring it while you're here. But give all you trolls while you're here. Throw up a thumbs down on the comment. Bring it, my friends. Bring on the trolls. Except for the sex bots. We don't want any sex bots. But if you're here to troll me, I'm all about it, my friends. All about it. I just need to look at what the... I definitely have Sennelier stuff. So, but what is it? Do I have pencils? Do I have watercolors? Do I have what? Julie, do you want a wrench? I feel bad, right? Because I don't even know how. Thank you, Janet and Eileen. I don't even know how you got wrenches. I must have set you guys wrenches years ago and never looked at my channel again. So as I start ramping up and doing more and more streaming, like actual art streaming, not just me chatting with you guys here, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm definitely gonna have to take some. I'm gonna have to take applications for mods. Let's see. Okay, so I have Sennelier oil crayon. Okay, it looks like that. I have Sennelier abstract paint. Yeah, that sounds right. Sennelier aquarelle. All right, aquarelle. Did I buy any aquarelles? Hold the fort. I just have to go and sit on the floor for a moment. Eileen says a lot of us think we are wenches. That's why we got wrenches. Yeah, oil pasta. So I do have the Sennelier, and I guess that's what, just right here, right? The pastels. so buttery soft, like whoo, yummo. All right, I just have to sit my butt on the ground and look at my shelf here, my watercolors, and find which pans I have. Schminky, I don't know, maybe Sennelier would be the only, not the only, but one of the brands I didn't buy. Let's look. We'll just, but you know me, I need it. If there's a watercolor brand, I need it. Let's see. I'm not going to bring up my Tambys. Yeah, Winsor Newton Cotman. That's not that. Hold the fort, my friends. I'm on the ground. Koi. No. From Sarah. And that is that. Keep that in there. That's that. Ooh, look. On the floor. Look what I found. Some matte accents. Oh, God. This is old. Who thinks this is dried out? Oh, sweet loving goodness. All right. Uh-oh. Craft the lunch under the desk. Bad news in this joint. All right. We found a watercolor Z collection. Do I have some up here? Watercolor pencils. All right. No, I think that's my entire collection. Or pretty darn close to my entire collection. So let's see what we got. Cores are, it's a different type of paint, right? Like, that's why I just love all this stuff. You know me. I like to try and test and research all the different ones. Yeah, brushes are different. Like, I didn't know anything about watercolor brushes or whatever. So buying the different brands. But black, you know, for me, all that watercoloring I did, all that stuff. My favorite brushes, silver or black, the Da Vinci's, obviously. Da Vinci Usuri Sables, silver black velvet. If you can buy one of those sets, the silver black velvet, like it was a starter set of 3, amazing brushes. Amazing brushes. And Princeton Neptune. I really like Princeton Neptunes, not just the mop brushes, but I spent a lot of time with the Princeton Neptunes. These ones. This is a 10. That's a Da Vinci Cosmo top. But I have a number 4. Yeah. Oh, Princeton Neptune number 6 and number 4s are my absolute. I'll probably use my 6 today. I remember that's the brush we're going to use. Neptunes are awesome. And they'll last your lifetime, my friend. Some of these, and I have fancy. What do you guys call this? Somebody, there's a specific name for this brush, but it was not cheap. This was a Kuretake one, I believe. But that's pure sable. This bad boy was, I think that one, it's made for like ink and watercolor, I think, but it comes to such a, like, I'll put it in water right now. I got fresh water right here. It comes to a very fine, very, very fine point. It's for like, you know, Japanese brush lettering and stuff, but very, very fancy, fancy, fancy brush. Mostly made for ink and like illustrating like that, but you know, if you have fancy watercolor brushes, you know, you can it'll last you a lifetime. I really recommend Princeton Neptunes. For me, anyways. And the watercoloring I do, Princeton Neptunes were the best. Were the best. It's funny, like you look at one of those brushes, you know, that brush, that comic or manga brush or whatever that one I just showed you. That bad boy. You look at it, some of these things were like $40 or $50. Let me take a. Show Last War says, can you show me the watercolor you are most proud of? I like that question. So what have I done that I'm the most proud of? Well, I don't know if it's technically watercolor, and it was more of a. No, I wouldn't know where it would be. When I used when I drew Bella with an elegant writer, which is not technically, I guess, water. Well, it is watercolor, but it's not. Do I have it in here? I just looked at it the other day, but you know, where we put something after looking at it could be anywhere. Who the heck knows where it went? But I guess for me, when I was doing all this stuff, I didn't really do any, like a painting or whatever. Everything I did was all in books and swatches and whatnot. But I think the things that I like the most are in that big Jane Davenport journals, which I don't know where they are. I like that question. I apologize, I can't answer it. But I mean, if you look at if you're saying this type of book, I guess that's a hard question because I've never really painted anything. I feel like I shouldn't say that, but I feel like I did so much swatching and so much. Maybe it's in my mind. It's like I never really painted anything because I'm just painting rectangles and squares and circles and whatnot. All right, but core wise, I just have that maybe, and they don't sell them like this anymore, or in this particular case, anyways. I think they changed the case, but I have those in one of my palettes over here. So I'm just going to move this. We don't need the cheap stuff. I don't need the whole beans because it's already in the palette. So yeah, I guess I didn't buy any Sennelier watercolor. I think they're super expensive, the watercolors. You know, a lot of these watercolors are big bucks. So, you know, I was trying to, you can only buy so many of them, I guess, at a time. Oh, that's an empty one. Like I said, this is more M. Graham in there. Just the tubes. But any tube I have would already be in a. These are the ones Sarah gave me. I love these type of, right? What's my fluorescent one? Oh, here. The Lumi, the Tambi watercolors, right? The Lumi accent. These are fluorescent. The Calero, these are what are they named now again, guys? Calero, there used to be something else, but those are the gold ones. Amazing metallic finish. And this is Japanesque color. So they're more. And this one I bought just because it's cute. And I know, see, I'm missing a whole bag because I have a bigger one like this. I have a bigger one and I haven't seen it in here. So there's something. I don't know. Must have some type of bag somewhere that has some pretty special stuff. Mission Gold. So I guess when I stopped watercoloring last time, as you can tell, I haven't really tested out my mission goals very much, other than swatching. Not very much. All I did was swatch them. There's the watercolor chart, and then these were the whole beans. So I have not, and then these are super artist grade, fancy watercolors, and then a Paul Rubin little guy, but we won't be using Paul Rubens today. Nor do I think I want to play around with my schminkies or not schminkies, holding Mission Gold. So these palettes I bought, these are Medine palettes I bought from Amazon. So Medine watercolor, this particular one, and I don't know if they still sell them, my friends. My apologies if we don't. Fine Tech. Thank you, Carolyn. So I'm reading, quickly catch. It's hard for me to see the chat, my friends. My apologies. It's black with white. It's driving me nuts. But so Medine, I don't know if they still do, but they had their own set of 48 colors that were, again, pretty much produced by the same people that make the Prima and whatnot. These are student grades. I think this was like $20 or something. It wasn't that expensive. It was almost worth buying the full thing with the paints in it, comparing to just buying one of the empty palettes. So I won't be using that today either, I don't think. We have here, this is the Prima and Jane Davenport colors mixed in. So these are 48 colors. The 48 unique colors between the two brands. And I do have, I think, in another one, you'll see the metallic ones. Yeah, so the metallic, so these were the 48, and then the metallic from the Decadent Pie set from Prima. But that's all of the Prima and Jane Davenport colors. As you can see, like I have all the sets, yet they're consolidated because there's definitely duplicate colors between Prima and Jane Davenport. And then on this side we have Daniel Smith's. I think these are all Daniel Smith's. Yeah, because some of these are from the wonderful Zandra gave me, and some are from Sarah, I think. And this is the first, I can tell that the first top 6 was my Daniel Smith. Like the first, when you buy the intro set, like the first 6 tubes, you can buy on Amazon. And then this tin has, oh yeah, so here's my M-grams. Ooh, watercolor brush, everybody needs one of those. These are M-grams. This is Core, I believe. Core, M-gram. There's some Winsor Newton in this one. But I can tell, like, these are shiny, so I know that this side is my M-gram watercolors. And actually, some of these up here might be M-gram too. It's hard. I can't remember. I have it all written down somewhere else. Oh, yeah, Cheryl. Sorry. I know. Oh, absolutely, Jenna. I still love the Primas. Most of those, well, don't get me wrong. When I talk about Jane Davenport versus Prima or whatever watercolors, I did all of that research just to tell you guys you don't need to have them all. That if you have all the Primas, even though we all love Jane Davenport, there aren't that many unique colors in them. That's why I did all that. But don't get me wrong, like this palette, and that's why I have this little thing. Like, I mean, I love, like, these watercolors are great for what I like to do. Are great. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. When I start talking about Jane Davenport versus Prima marketing watercolors, it's just about color duplication, not about quality. They are there because they are the exact same paints from the exact same manufacturer. So we can work on And even the M grams, because they're made with honey, they're shiny here. They're still kind of tacky. Whereas, over here, if you're looking at the Daniel Smith type of stuff, they're gonna be different. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. I gotta get my water bottle. I'm gonna fill up my I gotta fill up my water bottle. I am gonna look one more place in the living room for that bigger thing, and then we're gonna come back. If I can decide, do we want to use which watercolor palette I'm gonna use here? We can play with some M grams. We can play with the good old Primas that a lot of us have. Or we can play with some Daniel Smith. Or any other combination of them. I should be back in 5. Thank you, fellow functional light. I do have a lot of M gram, and I still have a lot of M gram for Jean. Oh, I'm the worst, absolute worst. Bad about mailing club. The absolute, I'm so bad about mailing. Jean bought her own M grams before I could get them in the mail. That's how disgusting I am. Oh, Jean, I love you, my girl. I'm just the absolute worst. I'm pretty good at sending mail in Animal Crossing. I shouldn't laugh. That's not funny. I'm back. I'm back in 5, my friends. Everybody get you some. Come back and do some painting. I'm excited. I'm going to paint for the first. I'm going to dip a watercolor brush for the first time in how long, my friends? Well, other than the other day when I dipped it in my coffee. I'll be the first painting in a year and a half or 2, maybe. Oh, no. I do. I buy all this stuff for you guys. Absolutely. I do. I do. I buy all this stuff and do all this research just for you guys. That's my excuse. That's just the way my brain works. I love testing, comparing. That's just the way it is. I'm at my friends. I'll be back in 5. Chat amongst yourselves. Oh, I did. The first thing I did. FOL. I'm back. I got good news. I found her. Found it. All right. Everybody back. Everybody refreshed. Welcome, Isabel. Yeah, like I was saying yesterday, to get used to people changing their names from the Ustream names and YouTube names. All right. Back on my theme. I gotta find that Daniel Donaldson book. If you Daniel Donaldson, I think she has more than one book, but her watercolor book is absolutely amazing. Daniel Donaldson and Anna Victoria Calderon are two of my biggest influences in my art. Like if you see the way I watercolor, it would be there are influences all over. All right. What do I got going on in here? Oh, hot mess. Oh, hot mess. So that's cotton paper. And yet another. This one I think is completely empty because I was buying them. You know, in Michael's, you buy one get one free or 50% off, or you know those type of. Look out for those deals. All right. Have we thought about which paints we want to use? Don't you? I mean, maybe we just use the good old Jane Davenport Prima watercolors because a lot of us have them. Dang it, I got too many palettes. I don't know where to put them. I'll keep these both out. I need to paint this bad boy. So I have a brand new one. That one I don't know where it is. I don't know. Maybe in the next year I'll find that bad boy. Oh yeah, Eileen, her Daniel Donaldson stamps. I never was able to get them. I never did because it was only Joggles or whatever that was selling them, Eileen. There was some things, I shouldn't say regret's not the right word, but what I really wanted, I really like those Daniel Donaldson watercolor stamps, and the other ones that Jean bought. A bunch of you guys bought them with the swatching, and it had the color wheel too, and then it came with dies, or you could buy the set with dies too. What company was that? I never bought them, and I wish I did. I think the way I like swatching and all that type of stuff, I would have used it. Yeah, I think it was just on Joggles that only ever sold them. She has a new mosaic class that really reminds me of your swatch. You would love it. Is it a little creative? My girl, is it on Skillshare? I love them both. So in here, this is again Jane Davenport book, the ginormous one. I was practicing some things. So I was obviously using bigger brushes to do bigger swatches. Here is these are M-grams, so you can see the vibe. You know, obviously the vibrancy of artist color watercolors versus artist grade watercolors versus say something like Prima or whatnot. There is a difference. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean you can't get some wonderful results with student grade watercolors. But you can really tell like the M-gram how you know, is ultramarine is pretty. They are very saturated colors, that's for sure. No makeup, working from home. What's wrong, Cindy? Hope everything okay. What I got? So I did again. This is back in 2017. So I haven't really done any watercoloring in 2007. Oh, and if you guys remember, I was testing brushes. It's gonna. So if you look here, it says, again, I'm taking notes. Up here, I was using, need to dip my brush a lot, doesn't hold paint. I was using Above Ground, which is an art store here in Toronto. Amazing art store beside the OCAD, which is the Ontario College of Art and Design. Anyway, it's downtown. So I was using a 3-0 watercolor brush for that. And then, I mean, look at how tiny those swatches. I mean, look at compared to my thumb, like how minuscule. So that was Winsor Newton Cotman 00, number 00, Winsor Newton Cotman number 1, Da Vinci Asuri Sable number 0. What did I say about this? I'm so impressed how I can get such straight and thin lines, even when my fingers are numb. So when I did all these watercolor swatches, I was definitely struggling with my carpal tunnel, which is probably why I stopped, right? But look how fun that is. A number 0, which I think some of these tiny, tiny brushes frustrates some people. So you can see this Jane Davenport, there is some mixed media going on in here. I did do some. So you see that I will eventually getting some mixed media. Oh, here's the, these are swatches of the pan pastels I have. The only I have 3 colors, random colors. We talked about that the other day, and I have the portrait set of pan pastels. So this is the portrait set. This is from Jane. Little glue dot in there. And this is where this is all my, and you'll see all my swatching that I did, all the testing to assure that these colors were exactly the same across Jane Davenport and the Prima. I did a lot of work, and it was frustrating because none of those colors are not, some of them had numbers, some of them had Jane Davenport's had names, but so you can see, like, I numbered them, like these 2 colors, Prima, Jane Davenport, exactly the same. These 2, exactly the same. So I did a lot of swatching, comparing to the different ones. You can see I have them numbered and everything, because that's what I had to do, right? I had to see that, okay, this is number 9 and number 58. Number 9, one would have been from Prima, and one would have been from Jane Davenport, and they were the exact same color. So same as these pinks, right? Same color, exactly the same paint. I spent hours on that, my friend. Hours. My friends, I should say. Hours. Oh, I was making a hot mess over here. I don't know what I was doing over there. Some Jane Davenport 5-minute, or whatever she calls them, faces. There's some, that is Dilutions paint. More Dilutions paint. Taking some notes, writing some stuff. Color wash, or not color, excuse me, that would have been Dilutions, probably sprays or something. Dilutions or Tim Holtz. There's some Jane Davenport. I was doing some swatches. Frida Cia. So that would have been the swatches of Jane Davenport's what does she call her colored crayons? Why can't I remember? Oh, am I looking at the trolls again? Sorry, guys. Sorry, Eileen. I'm making Eileen work. I'm gonna have to start paying her a salary. Bye, Devon. So I was swatching her art. What does she call them? I mean, they're right here. Why don't we just stand up and get them, for crying out loud? Aqua pastels. These were the aqua pastels. Yeah. Then I just glued one of her napkins on top of the swatches and stuff I was doing. Beautiful. This is Dilutions paint. The Dilutions paint on this paper really is nice. And this is just, using the blending tool. You know how the good old Diane Reevely technique. Same as some of the pinks and whatnot. Oh, that's not done. I was doing, again, like trying to do gems a la whatever. I painted black. I drew this because, let's do that right now. I put that. I did this. This is just in like white something. I did it because I was going to swatch this on top of black paper. I'm going to do that. Oh God, what is that hot mess? Who knows what I got going on in here? And that's it. So I'm going to work. I do want to work on this journal. I don't know why. I guess I thought I was going to do a little bit of mixed media in there as well. Let's swatch these bad boys while we're at it. Just going to spray them. These are the Caleros. I don't know what they're Fine Tech. Were they called Fine Tech? Oh yeah, Fine Tech before. I don't know what they're called now. This is the only set I have, and they have a bunch of different ones. All right. What size brush should we use, my friends? What size brush? I guess just my favorite one, the Princeton Neptune number 6. Ooh, I'm using the water jar I have here is a little shifty. I guess I haven't used these in a while, so I'm definitely going to have to. I sprayed water on it. We might have to wait till it absorbs a little bit. But we might have to wait till it absorbs a lot. So, like I said, I haven't done much of any watercolor. I guess I got frustrated. I don't guess. I know. I got frustrated because of carpal tunnel, and so I stopped. But you know, I haven't been doing any really drawing or art in a long time, a year and a half probably. So, so let's just hope that, you know, arting again after this long, my carpal tunnel's not going to come back. It's going to come back. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is what it is, but it's not. Hopefully, it's not going to come back and too quickly, I guess. Oh, can you hear my stomach? It's time for Ensure. And this isn't, you know, this is just black acrylic paint, like probably craft paint, my friends. So not the best to watercolor over. But with this fine tech paints, they are super pigmented. So when you can get the color off, when they've been used, you know, more when you haven't used it in a year and a half or 2 years or whatever. When did I say I was doing my last? 2017. And I know I've been getting emails and stuff, my friends, and I see this my subscriber count and all that going down. Don't, you know, right now I'm manic. Yes, absolutely. I am all over the place. I'll say I'm doing this, and then next thing you know, I'm cleaning something, and then I'm crying, and then I'm laughing, and then whatever. Yes, I know. Getting back into art for me, I have to follow. How am I going to explain this? Wait a second. I drew this on 5, and there's 6. Oh no. So if I seem all over the place at the moment, I wouldn't say I'm doing it on purpose, but I'm just kind of, as I get back into art after not doing art for so long, which is a symptom of depression, right? I was so super stressed and depressed for the last couple of years. That, you know, symptom of depression is you stop doing things that bring you joy. So now that I'm feeling better, if not the absolute opposite, I'm manic, but anyways, we're managing that. Sometimes I just have to follow, just have patience with me. I have to follow what I'm feeling, right? What is inspiring me? What am I trying, like, to get back into art? I kind of, I have to be all over the place. I have to be all over the place. I have to, you know, I'm trying to follow where my muse is taking me, right? So if I'm feeling inspired to do something, whether it's Kathy Arbor, um, or DDA Alphabetica inspired type of file folders, or, you know, like the other day I said we were going to art, but then I got distracted looking at my old journals. I got some hate mail about that. It's like, you said you're arting and this whole video is just nothing but you talking about your own. Yes, because that's what I need to do. I need to go through my own stuff and inspire myself. And if me being a hot, like scatterbrained and all that, if that doesn't appeal for you, then there's somebody else. I'm sure there's millions of other channels you can go watch. But for now, for the next couple weeks, this is how my channel is going to be as I get back into arting and get back into, you know, I shouldn't say building my passion back up, but, you know what I mean, Vern? Does that make any sense? So my apologies if I'm manic and a hot mess and all over the freaking place, and it bothers you that I have not done, that I say one time that I'm going to do this and I don't, I end up just cleaning or chatting or whatever, go nuts. You can unsubscribe. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to tell me I'm unsubscribed. Go nuts, go unsubscribe, do whatever you got to do, my friends. But this is the way it's going to be for a while. I appreciate everybody being here. And if you don't like these type of videos, don't watch my lives. Just wait till I start doing some more structured, classes and streams like I used to do years ago. We got to start somewhere. I can't just go from not doing, I'm not joking, my friends, when I'm saying I'm not doing any art. Zero in a year and a half. I can't go from doing zero art to, pumping out or producing. You have to get back into it. Know what I mean, Vern? Welcome, Claire. Yeah, haters gonna hate. Bring it. I love it. But yeah, so this is what it is on my channel. If you want to unsubscribe, like I say, you don't have to announce it. Just do it. Good riddance. I just love that. Why do people feel like they have to announce? I'm unsubscribing. Go nuts, my friend. Why do you have to announce it? Are you expecting me to beg? Right? I'm sorry. I won't be manic. I won't be myself. I'll pretend. Nah, not happening on this channel, my friend. So if you want that experience of the perfect art in the perfect life of the perfect artist, there's lots of other channels, and this ain't the one. This is not the one. This is the one where we are real. We are working through the uglies, and regardless whether that's my art or my mind, this is how it's going to be on this channel. There's the door. Hit the thumbs down on the way out, my friends. You have to come back in a month when I'm back to being the regular journal artista. So this was on top. Like, see how vibrant this is, my friends? You have to, yeah, I have to do me. Exactly right, Shauna. At this point, I have to do me. And if it frustrates you, the way my videos are right now and my channel is right now, like I said, there's the door. Hit the thumbs down on your way out. Yeah. After a decade, I'm stuck with you. That's right. Hey, Joyceage. I'm not apologizing. I am who I am. And I've thought a lot about in the past couple of years. Let me think for a second. I have always shown the good, the bad, and the ugly for the last decade. From my very first video, I've went on YouTube. You can see me on YouTube in a sports bra right now when I was losing weight. I've shown my body, my art, everything, good, bad, ugly, my mental health, all that stuff, hot mess. And I'm trying to keep a lot of that hot mess off, keep the drama off of YouTube, but it's still who I am. So, like I said, if you don't like it, there's a lot of other videos and more polished videos you can watch. But in this channel, my friends, we are real. And I do know that me sharing, even over all the years, I do know I get 100 times more positive emails and messages and that than I do negative ones. Negative ones now they just make me laugh. But and I do know, and I will continue. I do know what I share takes courage, takes bravery, takes whatever, but I do know it inspires others. And I do know that if I put my crap out there online, whether somebody comments or doesn't comment or watching in the background, we have 73 people watching and maybe 20 chatting, right? I don't know. You never know who you're helping. And I am just going to continue being who I am, putting it all out there. If you don't like it, like I said, I could care less if I go from 20,000 subscribers down to 5. I shouldn't say that. I care. I'm going to have a play button. But don't get me wrong. I'm not begging anybody to stay. Not begging anybody to stay. But I'm happy everybody's here. Yeah, if they don't get it, too bad for them. If somebody says to me, you're a hoarder, you're a mess, it's disgusting. Yes, I am. This is disgusting. My mental health has put me in such a disgusting situation, and it is my responsibility to get myself out of it. And it's what I'm doing. Now, I hid from YouTube, or you can see my channel, right? I was I was super successful in the early 2010s. And then I haven't, in the past 5 years, I barely uploaded any videos ever, at all, at all. And for me, I've tried to keep my hot mess off of YouTube. I've tried to be the one that says, okay, if I'm in a real bad mental space, I'm not going to go and start streaming and getting on YouTube. And I want to be, I understand I want to be, I've always felt a leader, right? I don't want to be, show my weaknesses, I guess, on YouTube. I don't want to be like, I don't want anybody's sympathy, I guess is the right word, right? I but it's important to share my story. And I've thought in the past year and a half of watching other channels and other communities and all of that type of stuff that I've decided that this is how it's going to be over here. I'm just going to be me, regardless of what anybody says. There's lots of other channels if you want something more polished. But I'm going to absolutely share my journey, my experiences, my struggles, that you guys have all seen in the last 10 years. But I have to change. I have to break the cycle. I have to break the cycle. So I'm going to do it. You're not going to get anything fake from me over here, my friends. So if you don't mind. All right. So that was fun. Now, obviously, watercoloring on top of acrylic paint, not the best. But with these fine texts, they are so super saturated, my friends. Absolutely gorgeous. They have lots of different, I don't know, do they still? I haven't bought these in a long time. I don't know if they still have, oh, that's wonderful, Glenda. And I think that's also another, when people talk, there's so much, you know, stigmatism, especially with bipolar 2 disorder. And people bipolar, there's a bipolar that are not. I am not bipolar. I have bipolar 2 disorder. I cannot stand. And if you're in my chat, I'm going to say it. If somebody comes in my chat and says they are bipolar, you and I are going to have an issue because we are not bipolar. We have bipolar 2 disorder. Nobody is cancer. Nobody is diabetes. You have that, right? My mental disability is who I am. It's caused it. I wouldn't be probably as creative if I didn't have bipolar 2 disorder. But it is my responsibility to manage my symptoms and manage my mental health. But it's also important. I'm trying to explain, like in your mind, when people don't understand, right? Other people, when I say that if I go away or if I'm hiding from people, they don't understand. I think it's important for me to try to explain what goes on in my mind, how I, when during those times. But at the same time, I don't want anybody's pity either, right? This is my responsibility. My mental health is my responsibility, right? Nobody else can take care of it other than me. Yeah, Amazon used to have fine tech. I don't know if they still do, or if they would be under Calero. Maybe Eileen can help you that with Joycey. Hi, Brenda. Exactly. Mickey, my girl, how are you? But see, a lot of people say, "Oh, you leave YouTube." Yeah, because I guess at the time, 5 years ago, I didn't want to continue posting YouTube videos when I was such a hot mess. But now it's like, you know what? I started YouTube as a real person, like just in my room, even before I broke my ankle, just doing a journal flip, right? I started YouTube to share my passion, not to make money, not for clicks and ads and all that, subscribers and stuff. You know, when I posted my video in February 2010 on a journal flip, it was about, I couldn't believe it. That was when I first found Arlene, but my butterfly kisses and Rachel 013 and all that. And I couldn't believe on YouTube 10 years ago, I thought YouTube was all about kids fighting and stupidness. I didn't know that there was this whole other world on YouTube, right? And I started my YouTube channel just to share what I've done and to help everybody else. Uh, And I went off 5 years ago, or I stopped for a long time because if I'm in a very dark mental space, I didn't want to admit. I guess I don't, I mean, all you guys knew, all you guys know what my mental issues are. But I guess I never wanted to show weakness, right? I'm a leader. I'm this. I'm whatever. But especially during this time, during the pandemic and all, it's very important, I think, for me to be completely honest about everything, about everything. Whether it was my smoking weed and my cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, it's hard to get on YouTube and say, "Hey, I'm addicted to smoking weed. I love weed. I It has helped me mentally." And I know there's a lot of Americans in my chat right now don't like what I say. It's legal here in Canada, and it was able weed helped me calm my mind so that I wasn't always so anxious, especially at night, right? Because my mind races at night. I just think about, I didn't do this and I didn't do that and I spoke this wrong and I have to do that tomorrow and I can't think this and it and when I get anxiety, especially like in bed and stuff, it causes a physical manifestation, right? Physical issues within my body. And I especially at what I do at work, right? I was talking to the other day, like I have to be on. It's very mentally exhausting when you are suffering in the inside trying to deal with, depression and anxiety and just living, the basic stuff of just getting out of bed and taking a shower and going to work. When you're struggling with those very basic, the motivation to brush your teeth, going and trying to deal with hundreds or thousands of people in the public is very, very, very hard. So, and I turned to a street drug, although street drugs, I turned to marijuana, which is, you know, prescribed for those type of things. I turned to marijuana after I got off my medication, my hard medication, after, antipsychotics and all that type of stuff that made me put on 90 pounds after I lost all that weight and became fit. And that messed me up. You guys remember, like I was training to become a personal trainer before I broke my foot. I was and still am. I have all that knowledge. Weightlifting and all that still interests me, right? But I have to be honest about who I am as a person. And I think that there are so many people that deal with the same things that I deal with, maybe not too as severe as what I go through, over the last 10 years, but I have to share my story. I have to put it out there. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say a street drug, pot is marijuana. I just because, and I'll say this right now, cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome is serious, my friends. It could kill me. I had my first attack um, in October, the end of October and November, where I was in the hospital for 6 days. And you guys remember I came back after that, but I couldn't stop smoking weed. That night after leaving the hospital, after 6 days, I needed weed. I was well, the hospital when I was in the hospital, it was a really rough situation. My anxiety in the hospital was unbearable almost. So I didn't really take much of a break from cannabis, from weed then. I just because I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep at all, you know. And weed has helped my mania, but for some reason, very rare. There's a lot of people that smoke a lot more weed than I do, but for some reason in my body and my whatever, I acquired cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. And when I first started smoking weed again afterwards, I guess I told myself, I felt sick for a whole year, right? I thought I had an ulcer. I didn't know that's what I had, right? That the weed was what was making my digestive that the THC was binding to my digestive tract, right? And so instead of the THC going into my brain and doing what it was used to do before, it was binding to my digestive tract and literally changing the way my body processes food, thinks about food, all of that type of stuff. And it's very rare because nobody goes to the doctor, right, and says, "Hey, I smoke this much weed every single day," right? And I have for the past this much time, right? A lot of people in North America specifically, because it was illegal for so long and still illegal in many parts of the US, that it wasn't researched, right? It's not studied. So something that was so good for my mind literally degraded my body. I mean, badly, my friends. I mean, you can see, I mean, you can still see that I am super thin, thinner than I've ever been. And, but I thought that, I guess in my mind, I could continue smoking marijuana, just not as much, or a different type, not as strong THC or whatnot. And I really thought that I would start feeling sick if the CHS, the cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, was going to come back. It would come back gradually, right? Like I would start feeling sick one day, a couple, and then I would be able to control it, right? Like, but a couple weeks ago, I kind of felt sick on a Tuesday, a little bit in the morning, and then that next day on a Wednesday, exactly 6 months to the day after I was in the hospital last time, I I I developed. I had a very rough 5 days. I should have probably gone to the hospital again, but during this time, especially with my body losing so much muscle, and obviously for that whole year, my organs, my organs are muscles. So if I've lost muscles in my butt and legs and everywhere else, I'm sure my heart and other organs are somewhat compromised. So there's no way I just suffered for 5 days myself. But I do know now, I mean, exactly 6 months to the day, and came on 100% full strong. So that's it. I have to, for whatever reason, I'm gonna have to stop. That's it. Yeah, no, it's not about that. It's the THC content. So no matter if I smoke it or no matter however I intake THC, and I'm doing some research on CBD, right, rather than THC, um, but that was the type of high that I liked. The THC, I liked because and I only ever smoked it. I smoked every day. Don't get me wrong. And for many years, I kept it from you guys for a long time. But I only ever smoked at night before I went to bed. I smoked I smoked every single day, but only at night, never before work or during work or anything. I have a big, I'm still a safety manager at heart, my friends. So, and I knew, but I have to find, I shouldn't say if it's a vice or whatever. I now know that I cannot use that anymore. I can't. I know that. So now it was a year, now it's 6 months. I could start smoking again, and maybe 2 months from now, I'll be sick again. You know what I mean? And the thing with CHS, it's kind of like a lot of other things. You don't die from cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. You die because cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome has weakened your heart, your lungs, your whatever, right? So the for me personally, smoking marijuana or high content or marijuana has THC specifically, it could kill me. So I have to, even though I love it, even though maybe I'm addicted, not sure. Miko. Um, Even though, yes, I'm addicted, I love it. I have to choose something different. I have to change. And oh boy, Eileen. Oh no, it's not a second opinion. And that's the thing. I've said it before. I've kept smoking weed from you guys for a long time. I kept smoking cigarettes from you guys for years. Never mind weed. Um, and until, of course, now it's legal, so it doesn't matter. But um, I enjoy the feeling. I've never done anything harder. I've never, and I'm not a drinker of alcohol. I just like the buzz. I like the calming of my mind, because that's what's the problem. My mind is a scattered. Like, my mind just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So, marijuana was able to stop that monkey mind, those craziness in there, right? The stuff in there. And I was able to see more clearly. It's hard to explain. Even though when you're high, or for me, I'm not talking about anybody else but me. When I have a, after I've smoked THC and I have a high, I'm calm. My mind is calm, right? So obviously you're a little bit, my reactions are slower or whatnot. But I was able to calm my mind enough to be creative, to survive. Let's be real. Let's be real. But, going into the hospital the first time, and weed was so good for me. I'm like, no way, no way. There's no such thing. There can't be. It can't be weed that's caused me sick for a whole year. No, nope. You know I have an ulcer. You know I felt sick. You know it's stress. You know it's coffee. No, 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 no. But yes, 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 yes. Because the only thing for cannabinoid hyper, like I was in the hospital, my friend, I had every freaking test going, 6 days, to the point where I got to scope down my throat. Like Terry, right? I had the what do you call it? What do you call that bad boy? Where they, put you out and you have to. So they looked down. There was nothing in my stomach, nothing wrong with my stomach, no ulcers, no anything, nothing. Endoscopy, yeah, thank you. So that was the last day I was in the hospital, and I really had to. And by that time, after 6 days of last year in October, I had to admit to myself and that's how they know, cannabinoid. If you stop weed and your symptoms stop, it's the bottom line. So right now, I don't have any like pain in my stomach or feeling sick or whatever. Now, my body, the THC takes a very months to completely get out of your system, right? And my digestive tract has to relearn how to be hungry, how to eat, how to, any of that type of stuff. So, but there, and that's why I didn't want to admit it, because I know a lot more people that smoke a lot more weed than I do, right? And not just at night and all that type of stuff. People that have prescribed it, for example, and they don't know why me, why me. But it really, I have to admit, this is it. My sickness, it does cause it for some reason. Genetics, who knows? It's understudied. Maybe one day I could go down to CAMH and study it, because I still believe weed, marijuana, medical marijuana, the use of marijuana has helped so many people. Like we're talking about MS, seizures. I mean, I know a lot of people, it's a controversial topic. Obviously in Canada it's legal, recreational use is legal, and definitely in some states as well, right? So, but just because marijuana for me and my body is not good doesn't mean it's not good for everybody else. So I still believe, in medical marijuana and all of that type of stuff, but for just some reason, it's not, me and my body, it's just not going so well. Could be Debbie, could be Debbie. It's for me, it's an anxiety, and my scattered thoughts. That's the mania, right? There's some mania. That's exactly, Janet. Like I don't feel, and I obviously can go cold turkey. Yeah, when you're the 5 days, last couple weeks ago when I had that second attack, there's nothing you can do, nothing other than the only therapeutic thing you can do is take showers. For some weird reason, steam and heat help. But like literally, like one day I think I spent 12 hours in the shower. I'm not exaggerating, sweating and just getting it all out of my system. But for me, it's a precautionary tale. Very rare. Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome is very, very rare. It could happen. So if you are a daily long-term marijuana smoker, or know of daily long-term marijuana smokers, and they start talking about or taking Pepto-Bismol or Gravol, they start feeling sick or losing weight, just keep it in the back of your mind. A lot of weed smokers don't want to believe that it's true, but it's true, my friends. I know, because and that's what it says. All the symptoms, if you stop smoking or the THC, I have zero symptoms of it. Zero. So, um, it's, I truly believe in it, my friends. It does wonderful things for so many people, especially like cancer patients. And that's what's hard about. And if you want to read more about cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, I suggest just going to Cedars-Sinai. Cedars-Sinai has a good article about it, and it talks about like a little bit and then some of the symptoms, and you'll understand a little bit more about what I was going through. Um, but again, very, very rare, but it's important that people know, because let me tell you, I had a year of hell thinking I had an ulcer, thinking of doing this. And then again, yeah, like after 6 months, it came back. So I, I don't know. I still, that's my hard thing. I still love weed. Whether it's an addiction, I don't know. I love the feeling. Doesn't mean that I can't not smoke, but sure as hell do I want to, my friends. Do I want to? But you have at the same time, I have to be careful because it's true. Like if if I if my CHS it came back and it's going to come back again, and is it going to come back again in another 3 months? But I've got to be careful because I can die, right? Not die. I'm not dying from smoking weed. I'm not dying from cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, but I could die from a weak heart, weak lungs, weak from my organs, deteriorating because I wasn't eating for so long. Know what I mean, Vern? So precautionary tale, especially when it, so good. Something I've struggled hard with that for the last, 6 months. How can something so good for my mind be so bad for my body? But it's true. Yeah, and Miko, I've been looking at CBD. I've been doing research, CBD versus THC and all that type of stuff. I liked the THC high because THC is what is the like kind of mind numbing type of stuff. So I was able to calm my mind. Where I believe CBD more of a body high. Uh, like I needed something to calm my mind down. Or I didn't need. I like something to calm my mind down. Yeah, I have to exactly. I have to relearn eating and all that type of stuff. I have to my body. I have to teach it again. So I just have to. I really, work with telehealth and medical professionals, and I really have to go. I do know I need to talk to psychiatrists and really have a real in depth conversation about some of those strong, you know, mood stabilizers. Some of those mood stabilizers are strong, my friends, strong. Anyway, now what we were talking about after all that, anyways, it started all because of me saying, this is my channel. I'm a hot mess. I'll probably be in a hot mess for another couple weeks. So my apologies. But you're gonna get the good, bad, and the ugly on this channel. And if the ugly upsets you, makes you feel uncomfortable, I'm all good. You're not gonna don't feel bad, my friends, if this stuff upsets you. It is what it is over here. Love me or hate me, you're gonna get the truth. Right. I don't know what I was doing after that whole big rant. Rant's not the right word. But they say if you look into history, the best of artists were the most crazy. I shouldn't say that. I don't believe I'm crazy. I don't. All right. Let's just do some swatching, shall we? Yeah, painkillers, all that type of stuff. I've never, and I was lucky. Like when I broke my ankle, I shouldn't. Lucky's not the right word, but when I was on OxyContin when I broke my ankle, um, that's scary stuff, my friends. Don't get me wrong. And I do have an addictive personality. That's just who that I am. But I was lucky. Like when I was on OxyContin for my ankle, I didn't even ever feel high, to be honest. I guess because it was doing what it was supposed to do. The medication was working, to help my ankle, so I never felt um, too high. And for me, I was able after a certain point, after one certain prescription ran out, even though I felt pain, like a lot of pain, I moved it down, right? So I didn't want to stay on OxyContin very much long. I wanted to go, whatever. So I was very lucky with with that in that way. But I do love me some marijuana. I'm just spraying so I did bring out my M-grams. And let me tell you, I've said this before. If I've smoked, there's lots of times if I've smoked and I sit on the couch and I can write down, like I get my most original and unique ideas if I'm high. I'm not kidding. I guess because I can if I've smoked a little bit, then my mind, like all this anxiety and the crazy, like this and this, and you didn't do that, and blah, blah, that type of stuff kind of just blurs away a little bit, right? So when that type of stuff is blurred away, then my mind is open to, like I said, that's when I start thinking about art and getting inspired and getting my best ideas, because those anxieties and that stuff is away. Know what I mean, Vern? Let's see. So I just sprayed it. I'm going to take whatever color, like, what should we do, my friend? Should I start with a new palette? Hold the fort. I've got a couple palettes here. Maybe I'll have to wash. I mean, I've got this one, but I didn't wash it. This is also a Medine palette you can get on Amazon. I got this. This is from Dollarama. Maybe I'll just use a baby wipe and clean that bad boy. Oh, I got the hiccups. I really wish I knew. And maybe when this pandemic is over and we can go downtown and I can work with the, at CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, our big one in downtown Toronto, maybe I could join a study and figure out why. Why are certain people, is it my mental illness? Is it the chemicals in my brain that, why me? Why? I mean, when he broke her ribs, doctor gave me a prescription for painkillers in a prescribed form and added to a journal, never got the drugs. Oh, you put the form, yeah. Well, let me tell you, I needed, when I broke my ankle, I needed a painkiller as strong as OxyContin. I mean, I broke my ankle in 3 places. I had pins, plates, all that. But, I have a very strong pain tolerance too. So I was able to, like, okay, I don't want OxyContin. What's now? Let's go on to Tylenol 3s. I think then I went down to Tylenol 3 for a week or two, and then just regular Tylenol, whatever. I weaned myself off that way. Yeah, Debbie's gotta, but it could. And believe me, my friends, when I said I've gone off my medication, please do never, ever, ever go off any type of mental, mood stabilized. Very, very, very dangerous, and it's very bad news. This was at Dollarama. I bought this bad boy for $1.50. So that's just what I do. Like, I'm just going to take whatever color this is. I don't even know. A brown of some type. I've got to find the journal I have, or not a journal, the Midori I have that has my list. Like, I have written down what all these colors are and whatnot. So I'm using a, fur ephemera already. There was not even one swatch, and we got the fur ephemera going. Let's see. I'm hoping my camera doesn't autofocus too much. So first time we're laying down paint in a long time. All right, so right off the bat, I can tell I don't have enough water in there. That's because I haven't. And one thing I learned after doing all those swatches, look how shaky my hand is, my friends. Whoa. One thing I learned is that, again, depending on your brush, right, you could hold a lot more water and pigment. Like if I'm using this Princeton Neptune versus, a Winsor Newton Cotman of the Cotman's not going to hold as much water and pigment, right? So when I don't know what I want to do, that's all I do is I just start painting. Especially I haven't held a paintbrush in a very long time, my friends. But gotta start again somewhere. I feel like I want a smaller brush. Boy, my hands are shaky. We might have to do no swatching. We might just have to do some wet on wet washes going on over here. So how you been over there in Chicago, my friend Miko? Thank you for everyone being here. I apologize. I do know while I was talking about all that, I saw all of you guys talking. I wasn't following the chat too much, but I do appreciate everybody's support and love. Uh, I just like dropping in different things and seeing how that works. So let's see. I'm gonna do a little wash. But I think for me it's important. If I haven't played with watercolor in a year and a half, right? I have to go back to my basics. What was I doing? You know what I mean? Kind of have to start from the beginning, and muscle memory will kick in, and so it'll be a lot quicker, right? Let's just drop in some blooms. It'll come back to me, hopefully quicker than before. Let's see, some cobalt teal over here. So now that I found my book, I got all my brushes cleaned up, then I can spend time on the couch. And just do some practice. It's just paper, right? It's just paper. So I'm using a number 6 brush. I feel like I want something smaller, especially for control after I haven't used it in a long time. So let's go find, not go find, let's do a journal junkie workshop. And you know what? I'll use these Jane Davenports. The Journal Junkies workshop, what I just showed you earlier, same technique. Let's just take out a Jane Davenport Aqua Pastel. This is Cezanne. So in that Journal Junkies workshop, again, it's an older book, probably 8 or 9 years old now. And it's just chock full of inspiration on one of those. Maybe today, hopefully everybody doing well over there. How long have I been streaming? 2.5 hours? Maybe a little bit later on. I've got that. Do you see? I've got the B paper right here. I bought it a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatnot, and I haven't even taken it out of the package. Maybe we need to do some B paper experiments. I'm gonna use a different brush. I'm gonna go and get Cotman. I do use a lot of the Winsor New Cotman. I bought them at Michael's. Or the Princeton Snaps here, which are more of a mixed media type thing. Let's see. I'll use a Winsor Newton flat here. No, it's too small. What do I got? Da Vinci. I thought I had a Winsor. Sorry, guys, that was my watercolor. Let's just use the Princeton Newton. This is an angle shader. Princeton Newton Snap 1.5 inch. So these are super. They're not. So the Journal Junkies workshop, one thing they suggested. So I got water soluble something. So now I can use water just to blend this out. And this is I like those exercises for me anyways, right? If I'm just starting my day or I haven't done any art or I'm trying to get back into it, I like these type of little exercises that I will go back to time and time again. And it's just like the catalyst to gets me doing. Hi, Dorothy. Can you hear the TV? Simon's listening to it pretty high. So it's who else in chat plays Animal Crossing? Anybody other than me? I did want to talk a little bit about my Nintendo, my Switch, and Animal Crossing, and how Animal Crossing in the last, I've had it now for about a month, I guess, a month and a half, 6 weeks. When's it been out? It has helped my anxiety and my depression hugely, my friends, hugely. In the morning, it's a game that's played in real time, right? Like if I turned on my Switch right now, it's 12:56 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday. And it's given me like every morning there's certain tasks you have to do every day, right? I get excited. I get up in the morning and I want to see what characters on my island. I'm not necessarily an ASMR type of person, so that I'm gonna do this. But the sounds in Animal Crossing of the waves and of the beach, the wind, like amazing, amazing sounds, and it's just so calming. I love absolutely everything about it. It you get like you can be creative, right? Like it's curing a lot of things like shopping. It's just exciting every day to go into to Nook's Cranny and seeing what furniture is on sale and buying the and decorating your island and all that. I absolutely, it has enriched my life. I love that game, love it. And for Nintendo Switch, there's so many beautiful. Oh, what I was going to do, so I put those Jane Davenport aqua pastel down, and I think I'm going to use a color. Let's see, whatever this yellow is. So you can blend it out, and this is what the Journal Junkies workshop book showed. I wish I had it close. I apologize that I don't. That you have two, you can blend it out with just water, or you could blend it with watercolor and then get different. We need some. So for instance, like this snap brush, I should probably retire this brush. Not retire is not the right word. I should probably move it to my acrylic section, because they're more mixed media brushes. So the only regret I have with Animal Crossing and the Switch Nintendo is that I didn't get. I have the Switch Lite. Man, I wish I had the original Switch so that I could watch it on TV, so that I could see everything on the big screen. And the museum, my friends, and now so Animal Crossing just had an update at the beginning of May, and they added an art gallery to our museum. My island, if you saw on Facebook, I don't know who plays, but this morning I woke up and I had a new flower, which meant that my island is now a 5-star island, which is the top you can get into the game. But yeah, the Switch Lite, I wish I had the regular Switch, but I mean, I don't even know if you can find one. They're so, Animal Crossing is, and so I got on it before the big hype, but man, am I enjoying it. So so now they have a museum an art gallery section in your museum. And there's this guy that comes on your island, although he's only been on my island once, the day of the update, and that was it. What you do, Isabel, if you want to anybody wants to become friends over on that or need any help, like I said, I have a 5-star island now. I do have over 300 plus hours in. I'm more than willing to help anybody, or if you need anything or want to come over. But the Switch also has a bunch of really nice indie games. And guys, we're just playing now. I'm very, very, hand-drawn, stimulating. So I downloaded this one game. I haven't played it yet. Well, actually, I haven't downloaded it because I'm waiting for an SD card, a micro SD card. Because I keep taking pictures and videos while I'm playing Animal Crossing. So now the internal memory is let's see. Let's try a different color. But the indie games, there's so many beautiful visually appealing. It's just really helped my mental health, giving me something, not something to do is not the right word, but in Animal Crossing, like it's life lessons, my friend. So for example, you have a house, right? You got to update your house or upgrade something. It always takes a day. So you have to wait till the next day to get it done, right? So it teaches you patience. Absolutely love everything about it. I could not recommend it enough, my friends. And like I said, I hadn't done any type of gaming for 15 plus years. But I am really enjoying the Animal Crossing experience. And it's a long game. I just watched an interview yesterday. So I'm just taking some red and seeing how we might make purple. We might make a hot mess. I think I'm going to change up my brush. I don't know. This angled shader, and it's, Yeah, let's switch up the brush. Ange got it too, so I've been helping Ange out a lot. It's been fun, right? You play together online, right? So she came to my island last night, and fishing on my island and doing all that, and it's fun. You can have up to 8 people, I think, on your island at once. And I have, so there's my original, and I don't know if anybody wants me to turn on my Switch and show you, but so my account, right? And then I just started a different account. I added a user to my Switch because I needed to build. I needed more storage. So now that I have a different character or another user on my Switch, which is still me, and she's gonna have another house. I'm gonna have 2 houses on my island, and then I'm making that house an art retreat. So it's gonna be decorated with more artsy stuff, and so it's gonna look like a little art, like a hotel, with more art related. Love it. Love animal. Oh, so I was watching yesterday I saw something, and now, like, see, I have all this from when I was swatching these watercolors. I'm not even gonna dip in here. I'm just gonna start using some of this, and I don't know. I'm just throwing paint down, my friends. We're just chatting and throwing paint down. I'm not making anything. There's no intention here other than putting paint on paper and seeing what happens. Oh, I've put in I've paid for my Switch more than once with how many hours I put on Animal Crossing, that's for sure. Claire has to save for a Switch so she can go on. And of course, I call my island Artista. I really love it. It's really helped me. I enjoy it. I enjoy the little things, right? So getting up in the morning and seeing what I did overnight, the little improvements every day that I make to my island, right? I enjoy it. I have 10 villagers. They're like my friends. I talk to them every day. I give them gifts. Uh, I just wrote that last night. All of my friends are animal. I want to do a page like all my friends are animals or something like that. I want to draw the ones I have on my island right now. I'm just tipping in some of this stuff. I don't know. Sometimes I just do get some splots going, get some blooms. These Jane Davenport, these things are pretty pigmented, my friends. Even if I just, let's do a circle maybe. So I can't recommend it enough. I was trying to, not recommend is not the right word, not trying. I was telling my mom about it. Like, it's just, and it's one of those games where you can be as involved or as little involved as you want. Um, oh, that's wonderful, Eileen. It's like the Canadian. I'm assuming it's like the snowbirds. In Canada we have this called the snowbirds that do flyovers and stuff like that. But I don't know if Janet saw it. Let me quickly. We're gonna put this to the side. I want to show you. I do want to show you something real quick. So like I said, I really wish I had the big one, but anyway, I'm just blessed that I have this one. Oh, let's go to my home. So let's see. So a couple, and you see these ones are waiting to be downloaded because there's no internal space. But I bought these games, and they're all under $10. I mean, Animal Crossing is an expensive game, but and that's what I was saying. So I watched. I continue not to finish my sentences. I watched a Nintendo, like, an interview, and they said that they're going to be updating this game for 3 years. This is a long game, my friends. This is something you do. It's in real time. You just do a little bit every day for 3 years. But I was showing Janet some, and I can't click on it because obviously this X means it's not downloaded. Wanbu, it's called Wanba Warriors, and they're fighting, and they're like their weapons are a dip pen, and a brush. Anyways, but that coral, the bridge, coral, the office quest, the tiny bang story, mind, path to thalamus, something called Felix the Reaper, frost. But this figment, do I want to close unsafe data? Well, I don't know. So this is a Switch Lite. I haven't played ooh, look at me. I haven't played Figment yet, but if you look at some of the reviews on YouTube, the bridges are made out of pencils, my friends. Pencils. Oh, and a lot of indie games. I didn't know like anything about indie games. I didn't know there was all of these, hand drawn, beautiful. Bye, Debbie. I've never played it before myself. Ooh. It's loading. And a lot of these, like I said, these indie games are $10 and under. I bought a whole bunch, and that's why they're not downloaded. They're not downloaded. I'm waiting for a micro SD card because they were on sale.
Captain Action jumps and pulls out his parachute. Pew, pew! Take that, Dr. Dread. Hey, Dad, do you ever parachute on your job?
No, not really.
Yeah, you would be too scared to parachute off the building.
I've never done this myself. Sorry, we're having a little intro. Not intro. Little intermission.
When I grow old, I want a job where you have to parachute.
What? Oh, crap!
Is it too loud, guys? I want to show the original, like what the art looks like, is why I'm playing this beginning of it. Look at this. Look at this, my friends. Come on, focus. Focus. Oh, maybe it's not going to focus on it.
Wake up!
Oh, there it is.
Come on, you lazy bum! Wake up!
Oh, you! Go away. I'm sleeping.
Look at the
Not
art.
anymore, you ain't.
You're right. There are fears to fight, and a hero never sleeps. Oh, right. Let me guess. No fears to face? As always. Go home, bird. I need a drink. Where's my ice?
Find ice for your drink. But if you want, I just want to go. I've never played this game.
I'm not even getting a nice to see you, or how have you been? It's been
But
forever.
look at how absolutely gorgeous.
No, I have something important to tell you, buddy.
Look, okay, this is why I bought it. Do you see this, my friends? Do you see
Also,
this?
I'm not your buddy anymore. Leave me alone.
Do you see what that bridge is made of? The bridges are made of pencils. What's this? Oh. So anyways, I did not know there was this whole world on, indie world, whatever. I'm becoming a gamer, my friends. I'm becoming a gamer. All right, back to this. We're making hot. Oh, now look at this muddy mess now that's the blooms and everything. Very hard edges. So obviously water control is bad over here. I'm just going to use whatever's on, reconstitute all of these from when I was swatching, obviously. So gaming for me recently has really helped mentally. Helped me mentally. Your son is graduated in making game? Oh, that's wonderful, Kathy. It is, Janet. It's absolutely had no idea there was a world like this. Like, I thought gaming, Simon plays Grand Theft Auto 5 and stuff. Like, I'm thinking shoot 'em up, this and that. I didn't know there was like something like that. Filament, I think, is more like they're like graphic novels that you can, like, I was trying to explain it to Simon. It was almost like some of these games are like graphic stories that you interact with almost. Know what I mean, Vern? But that one's beautiful, that Philibert, right? I don't know. What should we paint, guys? What should we do? Other than just watching me just throw down color. But I guess that's what's important is me just actually the art, just doing this, even though it's nothing. It's literally just me putting paint on a brush and then taking that brush to paper without any whatever. It's therapeutic, right? It's something it's something I need right now. Just move around art. Just move around art supplies. Get into the process, or why I'm doing it. I'm just enjoying process. I did finish my I collected all the fossils. So my museum, my dinosaur section is completely full now. It is. Plays good for us. That's right. It's just about I don't have to have any type of intention while putting paint on paper. I'm just putting paint on paper. Getting the feel of getting used to the feel of a brush in my hand. Let me tell you, you guys know I haven't held a brush in a long time. Maybe we should follow some type of get out a watercolor book and just follow along. What do we think, guys? Should we try to do not a project necessarily, but follow along on some type of basic something? Let's see. I could probably just reach over and pick up a first watercolor book. I shouldn't say the first one. I should go in the living room and get one of my. I think I am. Should we go and find the Daniel? I do know where it is. Should we go and find a Daniel Donaldson book, or should I take it? That's what I'm going to do. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to get a book. A lot of my watercolor, color pencil, urban sketching, any of those books, are all in my living room, or a lot of them are in my living room. So I'm going to get one of those books and we'll do a little exercise. I don't know which one, but we're going to do one. We'll follow along. I'm just going to, whether it's Daniel Donaldson or whoever I choose, we're just going to let her tell me what to do. I think that was kind of nice. I enjoyed just doing those washes together. It feels good just to have the brush in my hand, right? Just to the feel of the brush. Exactly, Miko. That's wonderful, Kathy. We're gonna talk more about the art that's in these games. I have a deep appreciation for the artists that are creating absolutely amazing art, amazing art in some of these games. All right, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to get a book. We're going to bust out and we're going to do a project. Maybe I actually think that's what we're going to do it on B paper. Where is it? Where's my B paper? Maybe not. Did I put it up here behind this? Hold the fort. Where did I put that thing of B paper, my friends? See, look, I clean up and I still can't find crap. Well, maybe it won't be on B paper. Maybe it'll be on another fancy paper. Anyways, let's take a 5 minute break. We'll come back and we'll. That's Yupo. But I'll find a book. I'll find a. We'll pick a project together, and I'm gonna create a watercolor for the first time in a year and a half. All right, 5 minute break. My friends. What day is it? Today's Friday. Friday. All day. If anybody else is streaming, don't don't feel like you have to be here with me. You can absolutely. Where's my cell phone, my friends? I am losing my mind. I would definitely lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. It's got to be right here somewhere. I just had it, right? It's got to be. I was looking at it, right? I didn't leave it in the living room, I think. Here's my switch. And maybe I did leave it in the living room. Oh, my sweet loving goodness. Some things never change. Yeah, digital art is, oh man. Well, I'm not techie, but let me tell you, hard work. Just as hard as using pen and paper, I'm sure, if not harder. All right, guys, 5 minutes. Be right back. I don't know where my phone is. I gotta try to find it. One too many coffees. Oh, there it is. All right. I got good news. I found what I was looking for. Found a couple good things in my like I was saying the other day, I have books everywhere. Books in my living room, in my bedroom, in my art room, and everywhere. But look what I found. Creating Mandalas for Insight, Healing, and Self-Exploration. Robert A. Johnson. This book was published in 2010. Well, second printing in 2010. First printing in 1991. So people have been creating mandalas since 1991. And then I found Sark. I was thinking about that the other day. I haven't read Sark in years. Years. Way before I did any even scrapbooking. So I picked that. Like, I mean, look at how beautiful her watercolor was in the beginning. So I want to read that a little bit later. I found this. Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting playbook. Look at that later. And so I found a Journal Junkies workshop. The book I was just talking about. Let me get my chair going on over here. Hi, Judy. So this one, it's by Eric M. Scott and David R. Model. You know what? I'm going to start. It's almost 3 hours. I'm going to start a new. So we have Stars Branch Spiral Fan by Yeleni James. We talk a little bit about Journal Junkies workshop, and I did find the Art of Creative Watercolor Daniel Donaldson book. So I'm going to start a new recording, my friends. I'm going to be about 2 minutes. And then we will do probably, I don't know if we'll do Star Branch Spiral or one of these or maybe both. I don't know. I'll be back in 2 minutes. You might have to all have to log out and go into the new one though. I don't know if you can stay in the same chat or not. I don't know how that works. Be 2 minutes, my friends. 2 minutes.